making sure my audience can hear from you directly about what it is you do, your journey, and what we can do next to press forward.
Awesome. Awesome. Can you see me?
I'm lining up the YouTube now, so I'm only seeing YouTube. So I'm gonna go back in there in 1 minute.
Oh, okay, no
Uh,
problem, man. See,
it's
I see you got this audio technical situation under control, right?
I mean, I do it enough. I better.
I still look,
So now,
I still sit in wonderment, man, at how all that takes place. And I think you got a picture of me, but how do I get you to me?
yeah, hit that
Uh,
little video button. It got the little red
got it.
mark going across it. So
I
hit that
got it.
button.
There you go.
All
So
right, looking debonair.
yeah, yeah, right. That's what it is, Devilier, right? You got me in the midst of the pinkness. This the love room. This the office where it all happens, right?
I love it. I love it, man. Listen, like I just said, man, we've been knowing each other for 2 decades now, and I just can't say enough about long-term relationships, how important they are, especially in this day and age where you can meet someone instantly on social media. So
Absolutely.
there's a value for decade-long relationships. So, man, tell our audience, man, like, who is Ken Atwood? You know, are you from Chicago? You from the South? You got children? I know your
The
mom
whole
transitioned recently, so I know you out here living her legacy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in the long and short, I want to say this about you, Sai. Of the people I've known in my life, and I know quite a few people, as you know, you're just like literally the most consistent brother I know, man. I just got to love that about you. From the day we met, real life, guy, from the day we met 20 years ago, or it might have been a little bit more than that. That first day, I said, "Si, I need you to do this, this, and this." He called me back immediately. Okay, that's done. What else needs to take place? This is order. I mean, he's been that consistent and never failing, and that's how this has gotten to be this point. I like to see what's happening and what's happening with the university. And it used to be the union. I mean, the union, the university, the club, the transitions we've gone through. But he has been consistently the same brother every single day and put together consistent effort. If that's a lesson that we can all learn from him, and I can learn from him, it would improve my life. And so I'm excited to be here with you and to say that about you. Nothing but the truth. That's not flattery. That's just real talk. You know it's true, and I do too.
Thank
So
you.
now, as far as who Ken Atwood is, I am a former pastor of the Lily Valley Spiritual Church, and I'm a person who's vested in the community. Yes, I am a father. I'm still in ministry. Okay, I have four wonderful children who I'm amazed at how often I'm amazed that they got through living through me, right? Because I'm tough, but they did. My youngest is 18. I am a husband to a soldier of a wife who was never in the military, but she was yet a soldier. I've been blessed in all those respects. I have consistently been in the business of teaching people and dealing with finance, money, and the real estate industry. In fact, that's how Cy and I met. In the real estate industry, teaching people how to profit and make better their lives financially, make better their lives, and make better business decisions. And so, in the course of that, we progress. I mean, I'm still involved in real estate. I am more involved in financial services now, and I'm more understanding. Even though I've been a hustler my entire life, I've always been. When I was a little kid, I was a little kid who begged their mama so I could go and carry groceries at the local A&P. I was up there so much till they gave me a apron and let me come in and bag groceries. That's kind of person I am. I've been always the same. But as I have increased my knowledge with respect to money and how this thing works, it is literally amazing the tools that we have at our disposal that we overlook. We overlook the small things. And what I've discovered is the small things make huge changes if we all commit to the small things. And so, my current mission is really dealing with churches, the ministry, and congregations in terms of educating them about money and the things that we can do that are, I like to say this, we need to control the controllables. So I can't control the weather. I can't control what President Biden does. I can't control what the Senate does, but I can control the things that are within my own economic environment. I can control the $2 I have in my pocket. I can control the $10 I got paid. I can control those things. So when we begin to control the controllables, life becomes more manageable and our pathway to wealth becomes more visible. And so Sai and I were talking the other day, and I was talking about some of the things that ministers are going through and the church is going through in terms of.
Now, Kim, before we go into that though, because this, I want to put this out there for my own statement, because like you said, you knew me a long time, and people often say, "Sai, you've been doing this for 26 years. Why haven't you blown up? Why haven't you accumulated all this material wealth?" They don't say material wealth; they say success. But I know
Right.
what they're talking about: material, European-centric success. That's what they're saying. So when you talk of financial literacy, the question would be, "What have you made it?" You know, and even when I speak in the schools, kids say that. And this is what I want to say in my defense. In my defense, you can say what you say on your end, but I've chosen to stay anchored or be around my community, my people, and there's a price to pay for that. There's there's some glory and there's a price to pay, and the price to pay is a lot of extractions, a lot of taking from me, and so when you are constantly being extracted from, it can definitely tend to keep you from accumulating, because every time you get it, someone else is in need. So I wanted to make sure that people knew I am ultra rich in spirit and insight, things of that nature. Economics, because my people haven't gotten to a certain place and I'm surrounded by that, it's caused me to stay somewhat under the, where I would want to be. So what do you think about that, Ken? Would you say you're where you need to be economically, despite the advice?
I would say this, and I want to say this I want to say this not just in your defense, but just to be totally honest, is that Cyron with his skill set can take his skill set anywhere and be monetized for that skill set. What I mean is his organizational skills, his ability to follow through, his planning ability. So he has committed himself to not move without going arm in arm with his community. He's committed himself to, if y'all don't move, I'm gonna keep pulling until I pull y'all with me. It's just, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna leave you. And so in many cases, what happens is that people say this. They say, put the mask on yourself and get out. You can always reach back. That's what people say. That's the advice that people say. But there's some of us who are called to say, you know what? I'm gonna save you in spite of that, because I have a faith that's gonna maintain me. So they putting the mask on everybody else, and I just need y'all to breathe. That's what this man is sitting here. He may not say it to you, but he just needs y'all to breathe. He putting the face mask on. He just needs you to breathe. Now, as far as myself is concerned, I have experienced all the ups and downs of the economy. When I have made, and I haven't made $1 million in a year yet, but I shall. But I've crossed that $400,000 bridge a couple of times, and many people can't say that. So it's not that I don't know how to earn money, but I too have that same conviction. And so people would say this to me, even back as far as like when I was selling Sai his first house. People would say to me, dude, the energy you spend explaining to people how to get a $60,000 house, or how to put together a down payment out of no down payment, or getting them to the table with no down payment, going through all of that. The energy you got to spend with them, explaining to them, do not buy the furniture before the closing. And with the energy you got to go through, you got to take them, you got to pick them up and take them to the bank. All of that you could have sold 5 houses at 5 times the price for the effort you put into that. But this is what I knew. I knew that if I didn't take that time with that family, nobody else was going to. No lie. I wasn't pumping myself up, but nobody else had time because it's a money business. But I trust the fact that my efforts never go unrewarded. There's an old song. I'm gonna keep going. There's an old song. I'm gonna stop. There's an old song by the Winans, and it says, "For we will never know all the lives that we have touched. For we will never know." And it also says, "But I do know this. I know a record you do keep." And I'm one of those people. I'm in the ministry. I got to know that the Lord keeps a record of what we do, and He is the one that has the ultimate reward. So now I'm here to tell you, you don't have to wait till the ultimate reward. If you follow the simple steps, you can be rewarded presently. Like this group that Sai is talking to, if we begin to ingraining the habits, those 7 habits, and we've been ingraining those habits and utilize those habits, our whole community, this country would have changed, right? From this one guy. And it still can happen. And I have faith that that's going to happen. That's why I'm still here. I'm raising my hand.
Now, what you got going on with the pastors? You know, the community with all the violence, the church get a bad rap, man. They say, man, on the block, this church is only open on Sundays and Wednesdays. I can't get in touch with the pastor. The people come in and do their thing and leave. They don't live in the community. What do you say to all those block residents who feel like that?
So I'm gonna say this is that a part of what you are seeing is mixed with your perception you getting from TV. Okay. And so what you got to think of, what you see on TV is less than 1% of the churches that are open and pastors that are working. And so when you see that pastor come into church on Sunday and on Wednesday, he coming from work 9 times out of 10 because the church is not able to support him. And so
Right.
what the church is in a situation where now is that the church is trying to survive. It wants to support the community. It's there to do the work of the Lord, but at the same time, Commonwealth Edison, NICOR, they're not concerned with the work of the Lord. You know, in Chicago, we are
Right.
we have been excised from the water bill, but we haven't been excised from the water reclamation district. And so we have all these various things bearing down. And then when you come into the church, for the time that you come into the church, so often you feel the same pressure on your own life. So you contribute $1, $5, $2. And then you wonder if the light, well, you don't even wonder half the time if the lights are going to still be on. But when you walk out, somebody got to put their head to that and figure out how we're going to make sure the lights is on, how we're going to pray over this little bit and make it much and watch God operate a miracle on our behalf. So in order for us to be able to do what we need to do, it's a cooperative effort. The church has to be able to give to the community, but the community has to be able to support that church. We are a cyclical organization. We survive because of you, and then we are to help you survive better because of us.
So for some of the hard-nosed people, what happens if that pastor driving a Mercedes live out in Flossmoor and he come into Inglewood and and the people are struggling? What do you say to that?
Well, in many cases, the good idea would be to ask that pastor, what's his full-time job? Now, and so if that pastor is running an accounting firm, if that pastor is an attorney, if that pastor has been working on his job for 35 years doing what he's doing, he deserves to have whatever his income will be able to drive him to. Okay.
Right.
Now, what many people have the perception is that the pastor is surviving off of what the members are bringing to the church. And if we're biblically speaking, that would be right. It is right if he is feeding you, if he is putting you in the right direction, he's keeping you on the right path, and you are winning. It is right for you to be able to support that brother because the workman is worthy of his hire. Okay. Right. But in most cases, it's not. And most of the people who are looking at that situation have no real cognitive knowledge. Let me not use the word cognitive. They have no real knowledge of what's going on. They see the car, they see the guy, but they have no idea what the bills look like. I ran Lily the Valley Spiritual Church, and every month, I promise you, that building, I may not have had but 20 or 30 members, but that building every month had a gas bill of $1,000 every month. I got an electric bill for that joint of $500-$600 every single month. I still had to worry about the water bill for a long time. I still had to worry about the water reclamation district for a long time. I still had to make repairs to that joint. And the people who came in, no disrespect to them, they were giving according to how they perceived their situation. And so, if you're getting $750 a month, you're getting $1,100 a month. You don't know what to do. So when you put in $1 in church, that's you trying to show that you being faithful. But in real life, it's not to the task. So what I say to you is, ask that man what his full-time job is, okay? And if he's driving a Mercedes and he's driving a Mercedes based off the numbers of members in the church, then there are members prospering, or the numbers of the members are overwhelmed. Either one of those things could be happening.
I'm glad you cleared that up, man. So since we know a lot of our churches inside the neighborhood are struggling, what can be done? is there a solution that they pull resources together to make life better for pastors and be able to retire and live a decent life?
So I would say a couple things, Si. One is I want you to know that truly most pastors preach themselves to death. What I'm saying that there are more pastors that die in the pulpit or die leaving the pulpit or die when they get home from having service because they go as long as they can possibly go. They don't have a plan of succession. They don't have what happens next. Okay. And so the average little church you see in the neighborhood, that is generally what happens. Okay. So that's one thing. All right. So the one thing the church can do is in terms of not just putting our money in the offering, but the church can take on some responsibility in terms of leveraging dollars, and that's something we have to learn to leverage dollars to prepare for that pastor's retirement and his subsequent replacement. Little things we leverage. Leverage means we take small dollars and leverage them for bigger things. Okay, so if I could put $20 in here and get out, $500 on the other side, or $200 on the other side over time, then that's a smart thing for me to do. That's preparing for the future. Okay. So often
Now,
we
is that
think of
what you're
things.
doing though?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So often we think of things in a microwave kind of way. Okay. And so because it doesn't yield results next week or next month, we think of it not yielding results, or we think we're going to be doing something bigger in the meantime. Or that's going to take that 10 years to be at a point where it's giving him $500. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I could have done a whole, but you're not. But if you could take that $25 and 10 years from now, that means that that pastor can retire, or 15 years or 20 years, and that pastor can retire with at least receiving, $500 or $600 or something for him to continue his life. That's important. Okay. But
Yeah.
more importantly than that, how this works with us on a right now basis, okay, is that if we understand how to cooperate, how to pool our own funds, we don't have to have a license. We don't have to have a license to share. We don't have to have a license to be a club. We'll have to have 10 of us can get together. And I know, Si, you've been talking about this. 10 of us can get together and pool our $100, and we got $1,000. And now we can take that $1,000 and put it down on one of these properties that's run down. And now we can start taking our young people and bringing them in and say, okay, well, the first thing we got to do, we got one plumber. The plumber's going to work with all 10 of y'all to teach y'all plumbing in this building. Right? If we begin to pool our resources in that manner, not waiting for the next thing, but learn how to handle our money right now. A lot of times, Si, when I sit down with people and I talk to them, they say, man, I don't have no money. I don't have no money. They look at their budget at the end of the month. They say, I got no money. I said, whoa, hold on. What is this number right here? What is this 350 number? Oh, that's the cable. 350? Really? You have no money, but we spending 350 on cable? Well, what is this number here? Oh, that's my cell phone. You 250 on your cell phone bills? Yeah, I got the iPhone, right? I got the iPhone 20. And then, that other 50, that's my insurance on my iPhone, because you don't want to drop that, right? But we are investing monies in those ways, and we say to ourselves, we don't have enough. And so I look down the line, I say, what is this here, and that's McDonald's, that's Burger King, and down the street is that's what's the face foods, right? And so you spent $30 at McDonald's. And if you ever went through a drive-through at McDonald's in the last 15 years, you spent $30 at McDonald's. And so you spent $30 at McDonald's 4 times a month, that's $120. What could you have done if you went and bought a box of hamburgers at Aldi's and made them hamburgers at home and saved that $100 and put that towards your future? So we talk about educating ourselves on what we actually have in our hands, not to go get the pie in the sky, but to take the spoon that's in our hand and scoop in the direction that's going to benefit our life, as opposed to, waiting on the stimulus. Because I'm going to tell you, that's a whole sermon right there. I ain't going to do it, but people get the stimulus and they're going to buy rims, they're going to buy clothes. You had on clothes yesterday, okay? Do something that's going to move your life forward, because they count on you spending that money, and 3 weeks from now, a month from now, not having nothing. Your life hasn't changed at all. Some people in a situation,
but isn't that part of the mentality? Like, if you are used to not having, the minute you get it, you don't know what to do. You just gotta hurry up and go back to normal, which is spend it because you're used to not having. What do you? Is that an accurate feeling that some people have?
That's hugely accurate. And here's where we got to go with that, man. before you can change your direction, you got to change your mind. Think of it like driving, right? And so you driving down King Drive, and you thinking to yourself, I want to go to Ashland. You got to change your mind from King Drive driving to turn right and go to Ashland. You feel me?
Right.
So actually, that's a left turn in most cases. So, but you gotta change your mind. Your mind changed before your direction changed, right? And so if you keep thinking about the same stuff, if you keep saying, I already know, well, what you already know got you what you already have. Now, if you're extremely excited about that, stop talking to me. I don't have nothing for you. But if you want more and you say you want more, you got to do different stuff than stuff you already done, man. You got to change your mind. And look, here's a great opportunity. Many of us are going to get $1,400. I mean, I've been self-employed practically my whole life. So when they look at me, they're like, dude, you got to be kidding me, right? But look, many of us going to get this $1,400 stimulus, right? That they've been talking about and fighting for and all of that, right? And so you got some choices. You can get you some rims. You can get you some new rags. You can update your phone, right? You can do all of those things. You can buy the kids new clothes, all of that. Or you can call Si or call me and say, Si, listen, I got this right here. I'm not going to spend $1,400 with you, but look, what can we do right now that can build a community and give me a return on my money? Because I promise you, Si got 20 things right now that you can put money into and get money out of. I'm just saying, if we do it as a group, if we do it as a family, if we take ownership of our own life and stop looking at like, it's somebody else coming to the rescue. I'm going to assure you this before I say anything else. Look at me close. There is nobody coming to your rescue. There's no white hat. There's no cavalry. There's nobody coming to your rescue. Joe Biden is not coming to your rescue. The Congress is not coming to your rescue. The governor is not coming to your rescue. You got to rescue yourself with what you got. So if you ain't got but $50, let's figure it out. If you got $100, let's figure it out. But the rescue starts with you, and it's got to start with you today. So what I'm dealing with these pastors is that I know a lot of them are frustrated. A lot of them are feeling like they're not getting the resources that they need. I mean, in my first 5 years of the pastorate, I did probably in 5 years I probably did like 18 to 20 funerals. Okay, and of those funerals some of those were members, some of those were not. Of those funerals that I did, I would say if I did 20, I would say that 16 of them or 17 of them needed help to be able to get through the funeral process. They needed the church to do something. We needed to donate the facility. We needed to donate my time. We needed to donate something in order to make it work. Okay. Yeah. Now contrast that to other communities. You're looking at how many of those big churches are in, the European communities and other areas. Contrast that to that. When somebody passes on, what happens is they get what is called a charitable contribution because they're concerned about what happens beyond themselves. They're concerned about what happens to their household, their last name, right? And so they give a charitable contribution. So now somebody passed on, Grandma Gukenstoff passed on, right? And she left $100,000 to the church and $600,000 to her family. Right? Because she understood the principle of leverage, how little things leverage to big things. Now the church gets to provide services. That church has money now, so it can actually step out and it can say, look, man, y'all need clothes. Let me get you some clothes. We need food. Let me get you some food. We need to invest in the community. We need a grocery store in this community. We will partner with you to have a grocery store. There's no need of having a food desert where you have people and food are coming by all the time. So we will but the church can't do that if the church is trying to survive. Think of it like you're swimming and you're out in Lake Michigan or whatever body of water is nearest you, and they drop you in and you can't swim. And they're saying, dude, if you can just get 10 feet, I can save you. But you can't get 10 feet because you're trying to keep your head above water. This is the position that the churches are in right now. In most cases, they're trying to keep their head above water. They're trying to survive. They can't help you. I mean, I hate to say that, but they're trying to keep their head above water. They're trying to see daylight.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing, Ken, is people don't realize, like you just said, the pastors are working a job and the bills are coming no matter what. And then, your $1 you sow in, you would need, 10,000 people doing that to really have, impact. So I think just them knowing that will help hopefully sensitize them a little bit And you know, like I said, we have a vision that we're gonna make sure each of our churches is gonna be anchored with at least the the rent or mortgage money, because we hope to have access to the church as a community hub.
That's huge, man. And I'm gonna say this too, is that there have been times in our community, the church has always been our central point of dispensing information, our central point of action, where we have looked for leadership. It has been where we have looked to take action from, whether we gathered together and we were in a place of safety. And
Yeah.
now what happens is that our mentality has changed so that when we go to the church, if we're not getting anything from the church, if they're not giving us anything right away, then we don't have time to be bothered. We're looking for some place that
Immediate.
has, go ahead,
Now I was gonna say immediate gratification, like microwave,
immediate
right? Instant.
immediate gratification. And here's the truth of the matter. This is the truth of the matter, and this is what Cy in his ministry. I know he don't call it ministry, but in his ministry he has preached. I feel like Cy is like Noah, right? And Noah had a singular sermon for over 100 years, and he kept telling them it's going to rain. It is going to rain. It is going to rain. And they went, ha 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 ha. I just got a stimulus check. It ain't gonna rain. Ha ha ha. Right, right. And well, here's the problem was when it started raining, nobody even had an umbrella. Okay, so this man has been saying, look, if we can contribute $12 a year, if you can contribute $1 a month, I know, you spend $1 a month. If you're a smoker, you smoke one less pack of cigarettes, donate 3 cigarettes a day to being able to put $1 in a month. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
could change the world. We can sell toilet paper. We can provide our own services. Just something simple, right, which is in our control. But we despise small things. We say, okay, well,
Right.
that's too little. That's not gonna be. That ain't what change is that gonna make? And the truth of the
That's gonna
matter,
take
if
too long.
those little changes make huge differences. It changed. We could have changed the world by now. Okay.
Yeah.
So now the good news is that we still here and we can still change the world. Today is day one. Today is January 1st to change the world year, right? And so the opportunity we have now. I will say
Yeah.
this. I appreciate you allowing me to be with you on today because one of the things we are doing is I'm having an event that's going to be for pastors only, and I want to get
Right.
in pastors' heads how they can survive and then how they can help their membership to increase and prosper with the resources they already have, and then in turn start sharing that with the community, start being that hub that we used to be, start being that place where you go when you want to find out what the community is doing in the whole, to where that place where you used to go where you want to find out how we're going to vote or what needs to take place or who we're supporting, or to be that place where we can go where, if you're hungry, you ain't got no place to go to the church. If that we want to be that place again, because that's the call of God for us to serve those people, not just the people
Right.
who show up on Sunday and who are able to say hallelujah, but our call is those people who don't even know hallelujah, who have never. That's the call, is to feed those people and to see about those people who are, who are not the saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, who we talk to every week. The people who ain't seen the Holy Ghost, the people who wondering if there is a Holy Ghost, who hungry. That's our call, and I want to
Yeah.
talk to us about how to get back to that and that process.
and 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 I think if a pastor's listening, and we have a network of pastors, so we're doing on the 4th of July weekend the pastors convention out of Gary, Indiana. But before that, before the 4th of July weekend, the key is what should a pastor do right now? They hear your voice. What should they call you, text you? Like what's the next step for them to just be connected with someone who's financially looking ahead?
So, two things. One, I'm going to shoot you a flyer for that event that you can share. But also my number. They can feel free to give me a call at any time, and I'll give my number if that's okay.
Yeah, no, we want it out there.
All right. So this is my personal cell phone number right here. Okay, it's 773-703-1215. That's 773-703-1215. And so if you just reach out, we can talk, we can connect. Because if we don't start, and it's people, the one thing I want to share with you guys, in general is that we operate as a people like there's only $1. Okay, we operate like there's only $1, and because it's only $1, we want to hold on to it. We want to grasp. We want to keep it in our pathway as much as possible, and that's counterproductive to success. One. Secondly, I want to dispel this notion for you that a dollar can only be used once. We're the only community where a dollar is only used one time. Right. Everywhere else, a dollar is used multiple times. A dollar can be used up to 15 times. The same dollar that you have that's in your pocket. And I'll give you a real quick example, and I'm gonna stop, okay? Real quick example. I hire you to work for me. I promise you I'm gonna pay you $20 per hour, all right? First, that $20 is a promise of a promissory note, another subject, that $20. Now, while I promised you that, you go to work for that $20. That's one use. But that $20 is still residing in my bank account. That's two uses. It's also providing me interest, although not much, it's providing me interest on that bank account. That's three uses. So I'm profiting from that dollar while it's waiting on you, right? The fourth use is that I also leverage that with that bank. I say, listen, you holding $20 of mine. I'm gonna need to borrow $40 from you so I can do something else that's gonna make me more money. That's the fourth use. Now, that's before the bank gets to it, because while the bank is holding it, it is leveraging that bank, is leveraging that dollar 10 times. For every $1 they have on deposit, they're able to leverage $10. So
you went muted. You went muted, Ken.
It can be used once. So I just want to open your mind to that. I want to open your mind to the fact that that dollar can be used more than once, and stop looking at it with that scarcity mindset. Know that anything that you see out of your hand goes into your future. And so it's going to be a future a mess if you spend that on, my friend likes to say zoos and wham whams, or it's going to be a future a profit if you invest it in good soil that's going to produce a yield.
Now, okay. And you've been at this, well, you're seasoned, Ken, and that's what I hope people would, because we battle the ego, how he know more than me. The bottom line is you are just as important as Ken as in me, but don't take for granted what Ken experiences have been that may have put him in a better economic understanding than you at this stage in his life. Because I think people judge their whole history based on what they see as an inequity in them, and you shouldn't. You're better than me in one thing. I might be better than you in one thing, but so stop being afraid to engage because you feel like this person is better. Everyone is better than someone else in something. What do you say to that?
I agree. But here's the thing, it's not just being better, it's the recognition of equal value. So I'm the pastor of the church. And so people look up to the pastor and say, man, that's the job to have, right? That's great, right? Until I step down from there, right? And so now I got ushers, and that usher is no less important. And you say, well, you delivering the message. The message is important, but the usher's there to make sure that I'm able to deliver the message. The usher's to make sure that you're able to receive the message. The usher's there to make sure that no trouble comes in while I'm delivering the message. The message is going to be real tough if the wrong person come in, and I got to deal with that. The usher's there to do all of that, right? It's equally as important. As the body, we have different parts, but no part is less important than the other. Try walking without one or two of your toes. It don't seem like they real important, but it's awfully difficult. I promise you, you gotta learn a whole new skill of walking if you miss a couple toes. Try missing a few fingers. You got to have a whole new skill of holding things without those fingers. So we have an equal value, but we just got to be willing to bring our part to the table. All I'm asking you to do is bring your toe, bring your eye, bring your fingernail, bring your finger, bring your hand, bring your part. And that's going to make a whole body. Our community is not complete without you. And so if it's not complete without you, you are a vital part of the whole. And we start thinking about that micromanaged thinking. That's not from our community. That's not our worldview. That's an adaptation. We start thinking about, it's me, 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 me. But when we start thinking about us, we start thinking about my house, not just being the address I live in, but the people who bear my last name. We start thinking like that. Our whole lives will change. And it don't take 4 centuries to do it. I promise you. We can change this thing. We can change this thing from now and the next 10 years. Our whole community can be different. They wonder what happened.
But no, let's go there before we end, Ken, because think about this and give your honest assessment. This is to me, the greatest time in American history for us. I wasn't around during the Tulsa, Oklahoma when we was doing well. But what I would say as someone 46 years old, that's good. We was doing well in Tulsa, but what good was that big picture when you can only be in that environment, meaning you were isolated and good. You couldn't go outside of there and be and do good. Right now, we got more people with millions, with money, living where they want to live, dating who they want to date. And so I think we sometimes don't take stock and be grateful for where we at right now. Things can be better. We go keep working to make it better. But honestly, I mean, there was a time when the police lynched us, and it wasn't a damn thing you can do or say about it. And you get what I'm
Nothing.
saying? So what's your take on 2020 compared to 16, 1700s, 1800s? What do you
I'm gonna
think?
tell you. I'm gonna tell you a secret side, and this is what people probably aren't aware of. But uh, one of the most successful periods for Africans in America was immediately upon the ending of slavery. And this is why I will explain to you, because as a slave, we were responsible for all essential services. So, the things that nobody wanted to do, the ironsmith or the steel worker or the person who shoed horses or the person who maintained the horses, the person who grew the food, the person who, what I mean? So all those other segments that were overlooked that we were responsible for doing, right? We had that skill set, right? And then immediately upon that, we had a hunger to grow and to learn. So we had
Do for
more
self.
people a part
Yeah.
of our initial Congress and more representation. We have more representation in our government then than we have now. And this at that point they were like, wait a minute, hold up, wait. They are intelligent. They all human, not just they're not just 4/5 of a human or 3/5. They all human. We have to let's maintain this. So then the laws began to be put in place to put you back in place, right? And so
Right.
suffering through that portion of it, working our way back up to being considered, or recognized as being human and having the full rights of humanity, through this last 50 or 60 years that we've survived, and then to come to a point now where in 2020, via COVID-19, let me say this is that um, in in a biblical perspective, real quick, is that we always hear about Moses. I mean, we always hear about Moses delivering the people out of slavery. Okay, and that's a big story in the Bible. That's what we call a main tenet. That is a something that everybody preaches that sermon. Let my people go, yada yada yada. Right. But here's the thing: what was delivered into slavery was a family. Through slavery, through what we've been through what came out of slavery was a nation. So the process of that crucible created things that we have in us that are not existent anywhere else in the world. We have a tenacity in us that have not existed anywhere else other than maybe in the mother continent in Africa, where they still had to deal with apartheid after
Right.
after
Right.
slavery itself. So 2020 leveled the playing field. It might have sent you home from your job, but it opened you up to the possibility that you could be on an equal footing, because my bandwidth on my internet is the same as your bandwidth on your internet, and the process of you knowing my ethnic origin it's not even a necessity. I can make money in this economy without you having any idea who I am or consciousness of that. But I got to be conscious. Does that make sense?
Right.
So
No,
I
no.
think that this has been one of the greatest things, and I know I feel some kind of way about saying this has been one of the greatest things to happen, but it's been through this horrible tragedy that is COVID-19. It has created more opportunity, and the world's never going to be the same. Quit looking for it to go back to normal. What do you want to go back to that for? Okay, so people say things like, "I just want to be normal." The normal individual is broke. They're unhappy and disgusted. Is that what you want? No,
Right.
that's not
Right.
what you
Right.
want.
No.
It's not.
No.
And so I think this has been a huge opportunity for us, man, for just to take advantage of being able to do business from your own home, create a business from nothing, from an idea. dude, we can sit right here. I'm gonna promise you the last I'm gonna say, we can sit right here. I can doodle something. I have no artistic talent, but I can doodle something right here and make a logo. I can copy that logo and scan it into my computer and send it to a company. They can put it on a t-shirt. They will sell that t-shirt for me. They will print the t-shirt and sell the t-shirt one by one.
Yeah. Now I just think it's so important that we do self-reflection and honestly appreciate where we are. I think our ancestors, I feel like I'm cheating the way I'm organizing now because I knew Harriet Tubman didn't have Instagram, Twitter. She didn't have viral. She didn't have these tools. And here I am. I'm able to go on the phone and find people anywhere in the world. Like, you know what I mean? I stand on her shoulder the way she was organizing. And I'm not even comparable the way they had to manually do it. And we don't have to do that now.
That's it. That's it's bananas that you would even say that, man. They credit her with saving about 725 slaves. They say she saved 725 slaves. I don't think that number is accurate. I think that number is probably 2 to 3 times that. But let's just say that's accurate, right? 725 people you were able to save in your lifetime without the benefit of a telephone. You can't call ahead. You can't phone first. You know what I'm saying? You got to pass a message by a message. It's so the incredible incredible nature of where we are. And I tell this to people all the time. You see the cell phone I got right here? Okay, there's more computing power in this cell phone that actually took a man from this planet to the moon. There's more. They didn't even know a gigabyte of information could exist. And I'm sitting on a phone with 120 gigabytes of information. So the times we are in is unprecedented, and we have to be confident enough in ourselves to be able to take advantage of it. And the truth of the matter is this side is that when we think about it, this might be one of probably the only time you hear me say something positive about President Trump. Okay, is that he looked a African American audience in the face and he said, "What have you got to lose?" He said that out of his mouth. What have you got to lose? Your school's already jacked up. Your economy already. What have you got to lose? I'm gonna look at you and say the same thing. By doing the right thing, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by doing the right thing, by making the right decision, by not having, by sacrificing a little bit and saying, man, I'm not gonna have TV on my phone. I'll just settle for having TV in my house. And I'm gonna take that $6 that I spent a month on that for my $6. I think Netflix is like $13. So I'm gonna take my $13 that I spent on Netflix and I'm gonna not Netflix and chill. And I'm gonna say I'm gonna put that $13 toward building my community and my long-term wealth. I'm gonna just call Si and say, Si, I'm gonna Netflix you this month. Bam. What do you have to lose? You missed something on TV. But you have an opportunity to change the whole world by the decisions you make in the next 5 minutes. So to my pastors, I'm inviting you to tune in with me on the 22nd. It'll be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. I'm inviting you to tune in with me and let's talk about this problem. I have some solutions that I'd like to present to you, some opportunities. And then Sign not gonna come back. We have another program that we want to institute and get you guys involved in the community where we as a community support the church so they can support us. That is the way the universe works. You may not understand it right now, but that's the way the universe works. The universe is all about survival. And so when you give to the universe, it gives back to you because it needs you to give back to it. It's a cycle. But when anywhere that breaks down, problems arise. So having said that, man, I know I talk a lot, but there you go.
Nah, we hit it, man. We right on time. So what's your number again? How people reach you?
Okay, that number is 773-703-1215. Again, 773-703-1215. And my name again is Ken Atwood. A lot of people call me Pastor Ken. Some people call me Coach Ken. Either way.
Yeah, and again, you guys, the key is to have people in your orbit who phone number you can dial in, who can educate, inform, give you perspective, and that's what Ken has been for me for over 2 decades. And you can access him now and pick his brain as well. So thanks for joining me, Ken, and we'll keep pressing forward.
Thank you, sir.